during the spring season. We are so stoked to have everybody here today. We're going to be looking at some photos that I've taken during the spring season, and then one of our howlers, Richard Mann, who attended the very first howl and is a frequent visitor of Algonquin Park. Richard is also going to be talking about spring photos as well. Steve Dunsford does run the Mad Musher restaurant, and Steve, the busy season, I just think, started to get real, and he told me that he might try to make this stream, so I'm not sure if we're going to see Steve during this stream. I know he's participated in the last two, although so if he's able to wrap up everything, all of his duties at the restaurant, then he'll be able to join us later on. But without further ado, let's jump in and say hello to our guest here, Richard Mann. How are you doing, Richard?
I'm doing well, Bongo. How are you guys doing today?
I am doing just awesome, and I want to say thanks for this is the second time that you're collaborating with us today, and you had sent me these photos. I had a peek at them. I didn't spend too much time looking at them because I wanted you to display them. I wanted you to talk about them as well. So and why don't we have you start us off here today? And now I know it's not quite in the order as in you sent it to me, but we're gonna roll with the punches here. So we're looking at your image number one here. So anyways, I'll let you take the floor here.
I'll say, when you start out with spring, you start off with the new growth of the season, so you got little flowers and all that popping up. And sometimes in the spring, you end up with snow too. So this is actually one of the flowers in my garden out front of my house, sort of thing, just popping up, so starting to pop up through the ground.
Yeah.
And we had this big snowstorm. Well, we had not a big snowstorm, but some snow on the overnight and in the morning. And there's this nice blanket of snow over top of that, so I went out quickly to grab some shots of the snow with the spring sort of thing, showing that it's the chaotic time it can be at this beginning toward of the year.
Yeah. It's incredible to see the green vegetation against the white snow, right? It's a total oxymoron, right?
Yeah. But I say it's one of those times where, like, say, the snow doesn't typically last long when it does hit the ground. So,
right.
Like, say, the flowers can usually make it through those brief little snippets of snow.
Yeah. Depending on how severe it is.
How much?
You know what? In June last year, we had a frost. It was June 1st or 2nd or 3rd, really early June, and we had already put out the garden, and we lost 75% of our plants. There was a devastating frost. Now, mind you, we do live here on the edge of Algonquin Park in Whitney, Ontario, and so with the elevation, the frost here can be a little bit more intense than, say, even an hour south of here.
Yeah.
That's how dramatic the difference is with the elevation. But anyway, it is incredible that we're always so obsessed with animals, right? Because animals just they take your breath away, right? But plants themselves are absolutely mind-blowing, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the other, like, say, I've like all aspects of photography, and the nature and stuff like that. This is where I start get out my macro lens and get out to do some macro work.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to your second photo here.
See what pops up.
Let's see what pops up. Yeah, and let's see what pops up here. Let's go with, where are we here? Oh, hold on, sorry. Now I'm nervous. What is it going to be? Is it?
Just pop up anything.
Pop up anything. All right. Are you able to see it here?
Yeah, it looks like when the red-winged blackbird, they pop back up in the spring. So the birds start flying back, and red-winged blackbirds are typically one of the first birds I usually see in the out there.
Yeah.
So this was actually taken in Arrowhead Provincial Park.
Yeah.
I was out on the kayak on the lake and just touring around trying to find whatever birds and stuff I could see. And I was able to get relatively close to the red-winged blackbird to get a nice shot of him there.
Yeah. And how beautiful is the sound of and the bird song of the red-winged blackbird?
It's always kind of magical to start hearing the birds chirping back there.
It's
Um,
yeah.
and say you hear all these birds out there, and you're just like, where are they? You're trying to see them in all the brush and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like say, the green hasn't usually popped in. Sometimes when you're out there in that first part of spring, you can sometimes catch the yellows and some of the birds' colors sort of thing. That you can actually catch a few shots before they fly off back into the brush.
Yeah.
You can't see them at all.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's, the sound of the red-winged blackbird is 100% the sound of spring. Officially, takes my breath away. It's just amazing.
And they're a skittish bird too. Like say, many times I've gotten starting to get a little bit close, and they'll fly out to this branch over on the far away from me, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. How often do you visit Arrowhead Park, by the way?
It's about 5 minutes from my house, so I do visit it quite often, sort of thing. I mainly say, and sometimes like I'll do both parks the same day. Like I'll start off at Arrowhead in the morning and then head to the park, or so I'll run through the park and then hit Arrowhead in the evening, sort of thing, get a sunset or something like that. So
Yeah,
with it being so close by, it's easy access for me.
for sure. Oh, I just wanted to let you know, Susan Oling says, "Hey, Richard."
Hey, Susan.
Hey, Susan, nice of you to join us here this evening. Thanks for dropping in and watching along here. So sorry, how close do you live to Arrowhead again, did you say?
I'm about probably 5-10 minutes from the park, sort of thing.
5-10 minutes. Amazing. Okay, and now in the last stream you said you used to live in the Hamilton area, right?
We'll say I was born in the Hamilton area.
Yeah.
Moved to Huntsville when I was 10 years old. Then I went away to school and did my schooling, and my first job was in the Hamilton area.
Right.
And then in 2003, I moved back to my job at the hospital in Huntsville.
Gotcha. Yeah. So hey, being 5 minutes from Arrowhead, that's a pretty good location in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's a nice little park, and can be something a little quieter sort of thing at times compared to Algonquin.
Yeah, and the skiing at Arrowhead is actually top notch as well. They've got
I'll take your word for it. I don't cross country ski.
If you haven't tried, I mean, it depends on if you're into that kind of thing.
I don't have the balance for it.
Ah, yes. If
I spend more time horizontal than vertical.
Yeah, of course. You know what? No matter whether you're a gymnast or a ballerina, you always feel like a clown when you're on cross-country skis because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead to their second one here. Ooh.
Gotta wait for it to pop up on my screen so I know what picture I'm looking at.
Of course. There's a slight delay, but you'll see it in a second.
Yeah, there we go. So this is in my backyard.
In your backyard.
Yeah, this was actually taken just last Friday night. I was doing the dishes, looked out the window and saw the hare in the yard. It's snowshoe hare that's transitioning into its summer coat.
Cool.
So that's why it's got the white in the ears and the paws, is because it's transitioning out of the snowshoe part for the winter to camouflage to its summer camouflage.
Right. Yeah,
So
isn't it the fact that animals do that is just unbelievable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like I say, usually I have my zoom lens on my camera sitting beside my chair, so I think if I see something out there, I can grab it and quickly go.
Yeah.
Quickly as stealthily as too, so I can try to get some shot before it jumps off. Like you can't get too close to this guy because he jumped off pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that camera ready to go if you needed it, sort of thing.
Of course, yeah. And what time of day was this when you shot this photo?
This was probably about 7 o'clock at night.
I was gonna say it's either dusk or dawn, right? That quality of light that I'm seeing here, and so
it's about 7 o'clock at night. Say the sun's probably just below the tree line on there, but it's still getting enough light to highlight things.
Yeah.
It's through the shadows, you get that nice soft light through the shadows as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure your mirrorless camera really helps with this type of lighting, right?
Yeah, we'll say it really does help. I can get off shots a lot more shots, sort of thing, to just kind of make sure I've got one that's at least sharp. And the pixel size on the camera is great to get to be able to get it so that you get a nice sharp picture as well.
Yeah, for sure. My setup for telephoto, I have a 70 to 200, and then I have an extender that I add to it.
Yeah.
The only thing with the extend, and so with the extender, I get up to 400. 400
Yeah.
is what I get with the extender. When I use a full frame camera, the only issue is that my f-stop becomes 5.6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's very, I can only really use it when the lighting is really good, right?
Yeah.
So with my kit, I wouldn't have been able to get this bunny here.
Yeah, I'll say that I've got the Nikon 200 to 500 millimeter lens, and this is probably at 500 millimeters, and that's going to be a 5.6 at that point too.
Okay, and you've got a 5.6 as well, right on, yeah. And then I have an old dusty Rebel, Canon Rebel, which is a crop lens. It's an inferior camera, but if the lighting, if it's high noon, for example, I will use it, even though it's an inferior model in that. But the crop sensor, as we all know, does give you just that little bit of extra zoom, right? So I'll switch.
I don't know about the Canon cameras, but I know the Nikon, you can actually switch a setting to actually turn the full frame sensor into a crop sensor.
That's cool. Wow.
I don't typically use that setting myself, but I know it can. I know it can do it, because one time I switched to accidentally not knowing what I had done. It's like, why is it looking so weird?
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's great that the two camera companies are always outdoing each other, and then at the end of the day, we win, right? Because we get this great technology, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are we looking at here?
This is a Trillium. It's just starting to open up and bloom, so you're just seeing the kind of the tip of the Trillium there before it actually has opened up.
Very cool. Wow.
So this is taken in Arrowhead again.
Yeah.
Arrowhead's got on the Stubbs Falls Trail has a mass amount of Trilliums there, and like I said, there's one hillside that's like a white blanket of Trilliums.
Wow.
So that's a nice spot to go to do some photography. They come up right up to the edge of the trail, sort of thing, so you don't have to drop in the bush and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're shooting with a macro lens here. What are you shooting with?
Yeah, this would have been last year. So this is going to be my old macro lens. It's one of the Sigma lenses. It's probably the third lens I bought back in like 2004.
Cool.
On my new camera, the autofocus doesn't work anymore, so that was all manual at that point for shooting this.
Wow.
Just because the old lens doesn't recognize the electronics with the new mirrorless cameras.
Is that right? Okay, so if I invest in a mirrorless camera and I get the adapter, the autofocus
it will depend on your lens.
Wow.
My Nikon equipment works with the adapter.
Okay.
The Sigma older lenses don't work. The autofocus doesn't work because it doesn't have the communication compatibility at this point.
Wow.
I don't know if that will change. Right now my Sigma doesn't even have any new lenses for the Z6 system, like the new mirrorless systems.
Wow.
My guess is they're going to come out eventually, but I have no idea when that would be.
Yeah. And I guess if I just do a simple Google search, I could probably find out which of my lenses would have the autofocus compatible with the mirrorless plus adapter.
Yeah, let's say if you talk to they'll say if you're going to go like Cavalcade and Huntsville and talk to them about an upgrade to the system, they'd be able to tell you what lenses would work, what lenses wouldn't, and stuff like that, where you might have run into problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They say it's not that the lens doesn't work, it's just a lot of the automatic features are not there, so you're going to be doing a lot more manual.
Yeah, and you know what? To be totally honest, I have a macro lens too. It's a Canon one, obviously, 100 2.8, and I almost feel like the autofocus sometimes is kind of inferior to the manual.
When you're shooting macro, you're going to be wanting to make sure you're focused in a certain spot on the flower. So a lot of times, even with the autofocus, I would be manual to make sure I got it in the right spot that I want the focus.
Yeah.
Especially like say my older camera before I went mirrorless, the focus points were so large. You're focusing sometimes on too big an area, so you're going to want to do it all manual anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, macro is a fantastic lens to be using for flower. I mean, that's what you're going to use for flowers and fungus and all of those kinds of things, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's a must-have in your kit. All right.
So, spring also brings about Milky Way season. So what you're seeing here, this was a picture from about 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this was on Castella Creek in Algonquin.
Nice.
And you can see the Milky Way core rising over part of the creek.
Beautiful. I
So
love
this is that Turtle Rock facing south. That Turtle Rock.
And I love that you can see the stars in the water.
Yeah. So the funny story with this one is me and a friend went out to shoot that night. So we were setting up our cameras there.
Yeah.
And another vehicle drove by.
Yeah.
And came back, went to the Obiago store, and then came back and parked to the lot there.
Yeah.
Heard a couple come out, and they were just talking and going to start setting up their process. And all of a sudden, we hear them shout, "You know, there's a Milky Way, there's an Aurora Borealis going on right now, right?" So, like I say, we've got our first body. Me and my friend have got our first body set up. We whip around, get our second body set up to photograph the Northern Lights that night as well. And it was quite a big storm.
That's great. Wow. Was that even on your radar?
It wasn't, and it's one of those things I've missed the Milky Way storm before by not just thinking shooting north to see what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was always the rule: just take a shot north just to be on the safe side. And I didn't follow that rule, so I almost missed that storm too.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it was great. I had two cameras going, one shooting the Milky Way, one shooting the Northern Lights.
That's amazing. I love that you're on that level where you've got two bodies going at the same. And you know what? I'm a two-body shooter as well.
Yeah. Well, the reason I really got the second body was there was times I'm driving to the park and I'm seeing a landscape, but my wildlife lens is on the camera, and it's just like I got to take the time to take everything apart, to put it was just to the point where I needed the two bodies, so that I'm not having to say, oh, I'm just gonna miss it. Now I can at least stop and get both and not have the hassle of trying to mix between the two.
Yeah. I grew up in the wedding and event photography industry.
You need the two bodies to catch the differences. Yeah.
And that's where I learned the importance of having two. In fact, there was a point in time where I had three bodies.
Yep.
Yeah. Right on. Okay, so we're looking at another flower here.
Yeah, this is the white trillium that has actually fully opened up.
Beautiful.
So this is the flower of Ontario.
Yes, it is.
Again, this one was most of the trillium shots I think are going to be an arrowhead.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Again, these were shots most of them from last year that I've taken. So I love wildflowers and macro. Like say the trilliums should probably just opening up right now this weekend sort of thing. So I'll hopefully be out on Saturday and Sunday, maybe doing a little wildflower photography in the parks and see what I can get.
Yeah, and I love that because of course everybody wants the moose, everybody wants the money shot of the wolf or the bear, whatever it is. But if you don't, and you're not always gonna find that, right? But
yeah.
and it's little things like this that you stumble upon that in the absence of getting your money shots, you have these other money shots that you can get of these little details in the forest, right?
Absolutely. Like I say, it's nice to have a plan to go get something, but there's been many times I've driven to the park and gotten skunked, but at least I've come away with some shots that I can still work with and have fun with.
100%. Okay, so the next one up here, it's a little bit farther back, and I think this is another trillium as well. It'll pop up on your screen.
Yeah, this is another shot of the trillium, just going from different angles and stuff like that, trying to get, say, maybe more of the flowering shots, make sure the stamen in the middle is nice and focused. It's nice to have, like, say, close-up shots and then a little bit farther away. Nice to get yourself a nice variety of stuff from different angles and stuff like that to, say, round out your portfolio and stuff like that when you're taking those shots of the wildflower.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I attended a wedding photography convention back in 2013, a while ago, and one of the speakers there. Now, of course, we were talking about wedding photography, right? But one of the speakers there, that was a hot shot. Like, they were like upper echelon wedding photographers. Their advice was, with your subject, go high, go low, go near, and go far. And then get all of those perspectives of your single subject. Don't just get the one perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you never know sometimes what you're going to get if you just look at it from a completely different angle.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? The name of that photographer was it was Two Man. So their last name was Man. They're from Alberta. But anyways, the name of the company was Two Man. They specialized in weddings, but
Yeah.
what a funny coincidence.
Absolutely.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
So this is a red trillium. Usually the red trilliums are out about a week before the white trilliums.
Yeah.
So there's probably the red trilliums are probably open at this point right now.
Cool.
I find they're usually a lot rarer than the white trilliums. Like for every 20 white trilliums, you might find one red sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're usually intermixed with the white trilliums as well.
Yeah.
And I've had a hard time getting the red trilliums. Usually, I get out there just after they've gotten peaked, sort of thing. So I've always had the shots, not the greatest shots. This is one of the first nice shots I've had of the red trillium.
Yeah.
Where the leaves haven't been damaged. The other problem with the red trilliums is they tend to arc themselves down, sort of thing. So yeah, sometimes I have to kind of use something to kind of push them a little forward, sort of thing, so they're not so difficult to kind of get up and act, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's using a different perspective, and then you gotta come on, buddy. I need to see your face.
Yeah. Now, is it true that it's illegal to pick trilliums?
I don't know if that's actually true or not.
Yeah.
I've heard that rumor myself. It's not. I wouldn't pick like a wildflower. Anyway.
I don't pick them either. Yeah.
I say I don't know if it's actually illegal or not to say that 100%.
Yeah. Susan also says, yes, honey. Yes. How funny that Piro showed up. Okay, I think that
she was the one who told me about the Milky Way, the Northern Lights tour.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Only in parks and conservation areas, says Susan. Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful red trillium. Last
year I lucked out. I got a couple of nice shots of red trilliums. I don't know if the season extended a little bit last year, or I just managed to get out there at just the right time, sort of thing, last year to actually finally get some nice shots of them.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, can you? This is a very this is a brutal question. What's more beautiful, the red or the white trillium?
If I had to pick between those two, I'd probably go white then red myself.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna come up to another picture where it's my favorite. There's actually another third trillium.
Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up. Okay, Susan says on Crown land you can dig up plants. Ah, okay, I get it. I see, Susan. I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you for letting us know. And just in general, I don't really disturb any of the flora or fauna, but
yeah, no, I don't want to disturb it because it's not going to grow back next year.
Yeah. Okay, this one
This is my favorite trillium.
So is this a white or a red? What is this?
Painted trillium.
It's a what?
It's called a painted trillium.
A painted trillium. Okay, this one takes the cake.
Yeah, so these usually a lot smaller than the other trilliums. They grow in very specific areas, sort of thing. So, like, say, you have to kind of know where to find them, sort of thing.
Wow.
And it's just like, I like the white with that pink kind of in the center that's painted, like looks like it's painted in there, sort of thing. So
it is amazing. That is really eye-popping. And extra points, bonus points for the droplets of water on there. That really...
Yeah, it's always nice when you're going at wildflowers if you have a nice rain through the night and then it'll have a nice, then it's going to kind of wet in the morning, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You can't fake it with a water bottle.
I like how you had
it is a lot nicer when it's naturally done.
Yeah. Susan says this is the true indigenous trillium.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow. That is absolutely stunning. I think you're right. I think the painted trillium is definitely the prettiest out of all of them.
Yeah, so it's my favorite. And I know there's I think there's 5 types of trilliums, and these 3 are kind of the most are native to our area.
Yeah.
I don't know where the other two types of trilliums are. I think one might be like in the GTA area that might be available. That's I think it's got more of like a green center to it compared to the pink here.
Cool.
But I have not seen those ones to actually photograph them. I've seen pictures of them myself, but not actually done it myself.
Right. Okay, we've got another flower picture coming up. You'll be able to see it in just a second.
So this is a crocus in my front yard. It was done the same day as the first picture we saw after the snowstorm, but this one was like the crocus was actually popped up, and you can actually see the color of the flower before it's actually opened up.
Yeah.
And this is using my new macro lens. I've got the new macro lens for the mirrorless system. So I was actually going out and testing that morning.
Wow. Susan says awesome, and I agree. And again,
thank you.
You've got those water droplets there on the blade. Very cool.
That's not water droplets.
What is that?
That's ice crystals.
Oh, those are ice crystals. Those are ice crystals.
It's the snow. Some of the ice crystals from the snow on there.
Gotcha.
Oh, wait a minute. It may be melted snow. Never mind.
Is it melted snow? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like now looking a little closely, it looks a little rounded at the edges, so that's probably melted snow.
Yeah, that is just stunning to see that vibrant color, both the green and the purple, and then just the white snow in the back.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And so this was a light snow, right?
Yeah, so there's only probably like maybe 1.5 centimeters of snow on the ground, so it was very, very light and thin.
Very cool.
When you put like a boot track on it, sort of thing, it pretty much melted it right then and there. So I say, because I wanted that picture with the snow, I had to be careful with the photographing so that I don't just start the snow around the flowers and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
so what I typically do is sort of thing is I'd start farther away and then start working my way in slowly, sort of thing, to get the composition right along the way. Because once you go in, if you start going back out, you're going to potentially have damaged snow in your picture, and it's not going to come out nicely.
Right. That's a really good method of doing it.
Yeah. So you got to always be thinking with your composition, stuff like that, that if you're going in, you don't want to be disturbing it, so that if you have to pop back out, you're not going to be able to get potentially the shot that you want.
Yeah. And your macro lens, what is the aperture on it?
It's a 2.8.
2.8. That's what mine is.
Both the old Sigma and the new one are both 2.8 macro lenses.
Yeah. Are there macro lenses that are anything other than 2.8?
I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like
I've not seen anything like that, but I'd say it's possible, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not a connoisseur of macro lenses, so I'm not sure. But...
And that being said, you can sometimes get the what are they? Tele-extenders?
Okay, yeah, maybe. Okay, so
it's not the ones it's not like it's tele-extenders. It's teleconverters are like the 1.8 and the 2 that you extend your lens. The extenders are basically just a piece of plastic that you put between your lens and the camera body.
Okay.
That will actually allow some of your other lenses to become more of a macro lens as well.
Cool.
I've used those a long time ago, but I don't have any currently. But I know that's something that can turn like some of your other lenses into a macro lens. So then you're using stuff that may not be 2.8 in that case, sort of thing.
Good point. Susan says that hers is a 3.5.
Oh, okay.
So there we go. Thank you for letting us know, Susan. I legitimately wasn't sure, but you're right. Yeah, if you put an extender on it, then that will, that's gonna change.
It'll also do focusing depth, so you can like focus in closer, so it turns it into a macro lens.
Yeah. It's honestly, when I'm looking through a macro lens, I feel like I'm in a dream or something, because it's just such a different perspective on the world, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we've got the next one here. Loading up. Looking forward to hearing all about this one here.
That's just a macro shot of some green popping up through the ground. It's again a shot in arrowhead. And it's early morning shot sort of thing, so the light's just starting to hit it. And it just kind of caught my eyes as I'm looking for the wildflowers and different stuff to shoot, and just that vibrant green with the brown around it, sort of thing, of the old growth and decay from the winter, sort of thing. It just kind of popped my eye, and I kind of grabbed a shot there.
Yeah, similar to how you had the other shots with the greenery coming out of the snow.
Yeah,
I like this contrast, like even just seeing it grow out of, like, what is it growing? Is that soil or is it gravel or rocks?
It's gonna be like soil underneath it with some gravels and stuff like that, or
yeah,
sort of thing. I think if I'm remembering correctly, this is kind of at the side of the road, sort of thing. So it might have just been catching some of the sand from the roads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There as well, sort of thing. So can be some of the gravel from that sort of stuff as well.
Amazing. All right, and then I think there's one more. And if there's any that I've missed, let me know. I don't think we've seen this one yet.
No, this is I think this will probably be the last one. Sort of.
Okay.
Again, this is just another white trillium that's opening up. It's opened up a little further than the other time. Just from a different perspective, I got one a little more head-on sort of thing, so you can kind of catch that sort of like see the opening and just start to see inside of it.
Yeah.
There, so just kind of just like I say, when you catch the trilliums in different stages of being opened up, you can try from different angles and stuff like that to get some really interesting stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. Getting those different perspectives and then seeing the different stages of it opening up too is just really fascinating. It almost looks like an egg.
Yeah. One of the ones that I really need is fiddleheads.
Yeah.
I've got a shot that where it's just sort of opening up. It almost looks like an alien egg opening up and perspective.
Yeah.
It's a really cool shot, but I didn't find that shot to put it in because it was a shot that was taken a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, Susan says so soft and delicate.
Yeah. No, I was saying wildflowers are always fun to take in the spring. It's nice to do it. It's a very short season to try to get to do them in.
Oh, it's ridiculous how it's a snap of a finger and it's done, right? The season is so short.
Yeah.
Even like the frogs over here in Whitney have just started singing, and even the frog symphonies, they don't last that long at all. Like, if you're not here for it, you missed it.
Gone.
Yeah. Are you hearing any amphibians in your area?
I live just at the edge of town, so there's not a lot of frogs in my area. I've got no kind of standing water or running water around my area, so unfortunately I don't kind of get that sound. Behind my house is basically a soccer field and baseball diamonds. So there'll be hoots and hollers from the people watching the games and playing the games there. That'll be starting up pretty soon.
Right on.
It's technically another side of spring.
Yes, you're right. The human aspect of it, yeah. All right, amazing, awesome. So I think you had sent us, as Susan says, breeding season is way too short. I know, right? Yeah, but I guess animals have to do their thing, and then they have to raise their young, and then get ready for winter right away, right?
Yep, before you know it, it's gonna be coming back.
Well, exactly, yeah. So it's and I mean that's why I love photography, especially nature and wildlife and landscape photography, is because it really makes you appreciate the cycle, right, of the seasons and the adversity that all of these creatures and plants have to deal with too, right?
Yes, very true.
Yeah. Right on. Awesome. Well, that wraps up Richard's presentation here today. You're welcome to stay on and just hang out in the stream. I'm going to dive into mine.
Absolutely, sure. Look forward to it.
All right, awesome. Yeah, and then Susan says, great job, Richard. Glad I caught it. Yeah, and Susan, I'm glad that you caught
it.
Thanks,
Susan.
Well. All right, so here we go. We're going to start with there's two camping trips that I'm showing here. The first one is a Crown Land camping trip. Susan was just talking about Crown Land. So this is Little Long Lake. Little Long Lake, the entrance to Little Long Lake is, 3 minutes before the East Gate. There's, when you're driving to the East Gate, there's a random road, like you know where that Algonquin Park sign is? It's... Yep. I feel like 60 seconds, maybe even 30 seconds driving between the Algonquin sign and there's this tiny little inconspicuous road, and it's really rough. Anyways, you take that road and then you end up at this lake, Little Long Lake. It's very popular for ice fishing for the locals here in South Algonquin. But this is a spring trip that we did. This is actually from 2016. So these photos are a little bit on the older side. But I wanted to show these photos because this was the thick of blackfly season, people always ask me, what do I do about blackflies? Honestly, your number one thing to do is cover up your skin.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, don't bother with, I don't use bug spray at all. I don't use bug spray at all. I literally, my strategy is to cover up my skin. That's how I handle the bugs and the flies. Nice tip, Bongo. Yeah, Susan, that's honestly it. And you know, it seems kind of contradictory to have to wear long sleeves in the summer, but honestly, they've got really good material now. You know, the long sleeve breathable material is really important. The photo that we're looking at here, this is we call this the White House, and this is our bug, our basically our protection. So you know, you could be in your tent where it's so funny because I'm sure everybody that's been to Algonquin Park has this experience where you're opening up your tent and you've got 10 seconds to get in. Close the door, and then you have to kill everything that got in that window of opportunity when your tent was open, right? So either you hang out in your tent, but we don't really like to eat in our tent because for bears, right?
Bears and other wildlife, that'd be could be a bad situation.
Exactly, yeah. And when you're camping in the thick of black fly season, if you're not covered up in a netting like this White House here, then you could actually be inhaling black flies as you're eating or drinking, right? So this is I got this at Mech when I bought this 5 years ago. It was $40-50 or so, maybe it's a little bit more, but it folds in a little bag. It's really essential, and as you can tell, the material is white. That's the other really huge tip that I have for people that are camping in black fly season. Light colors. I don't know what it is. Perhaps because, animals have dark fur. Maybe that's what they're attracted to. But we totally wear light colored clothing. And then Susan says, yes, I totally agree on the bear skin, 1000%. This is a photo of my partner, Andrea, and you could probably count the black flies that are swarming her right now. She's here on the shore fishing, and you can totally tell that we're in the middle of black fly season. And black fly season is spring. That's the bona fide spring season, of course. This is a landscape, just a generic, and these are all cell phone photos, by the way. The first 20-25 photos here are cell phone photos, and then we go into some DSLR in a second.
I love the sky in that.
The sky is amazing. Can you see the bugs in the air?
Oh yeah, no, I can see the bugs in it.
Right? They make me laugh because they're so persistent, they're so bloodthirsty, but at the same time, they were here before us and they do serve a purpose. So I do have sympathy for them as well. But Little Long Lake, and again, this is just a Crownland campsite. A lot of campsites in Algonquin Park look exactly like this, right?
Yeah.
But the Crownland has some amazing gems as well. And luckily, this is all in our backyard. And that's the beautiful thing about living in the north, right? You're super close to Arrowhead, and you're pretty close to Algonquin Park too.
I can say they're both in my backyard.
Both of them are in your backyard. Photo bombers, yeah, Susan, you're right. Those little black flies, they're photo bombers. All right, and this is a photo of of course we can tell that this is a moose. One of the signs of springs for me is moose just all over the roads, all over the highway. People ask me all the time because, of course, we run a tourism business here, so we get people from all over that come and stay with us. And the number one question we get is, where can I see moose? What do I do? How do I do that? And I tell everybody, you know what? When the bugs are at their worst, that's when you see the most moose in the thick of spring, right? And of course, you have to be, and this is a message for everybody out there: do not speed on rural roads when you're in moose country. There's no point. Number one, you're gonna miss all of the amazing things that are on the sides of the road, and number two, hitting a moose is like hitting a car. And I've seen them bolt right across the road very randomly. Have you had any experiences, Richard, of moose just running on the highway right in front of your car? Any close calls?
I typically will do the speed limit, so
me too.
I've not had the issues like that.
Smart.
I guess the one incident I can recall is actually when I worked at one summer at the Tenmacoon camp in the park.
Yeah, cool.
a group of us went out to Huntsville that night to partake in some beverages.
Yeah. Some
And
fun.
on the way back, I was the DD on the way back and
Yeah.
was driving, and say there was a moose on the side of the road that was, but say you didn't see it, so you say we went right on by it, but he was pretty close to us on the side of the road. That say no impact or anything, but that was kind of the closest encounter I've had with the moose in my drives.
Wow. Nighttime,
yeah.
and nighttime, that's when you have to be. I even drive below the speed limit in the springtime. Yeah, and you know, when I'm driving, my eyes are constantly searching on the sides of the road for the eyeballs, right? The glowing eye. That's, well, obviously I'm looking at the road too, but my peripherals.
But you're looking for that little flash of light in the eyes, sort of thing, that will indicate that something's there.
Yeah. Okay, Susan says, worse, they come through your windshield. I know. Yeah, totally. They'll total the car, and it's basically, it's like hitting another car, and they go, yeah, you're right. It's worse because the way that they get hit, they go right into your windshield. It's, yeah. Susan says, I missed a monster bull last year. Not fun. Were you okay, Susan? Was your heart pounding when you swerved and dodged it? Wow. Okay, this is a photo. This was taken from the car. This is actually us leaving Little Long Lake. I don't know. I always enjoy taking these adventure photos when we're in the car. It's part of the adventure, part of like getting there, and also emerging out of the wilderness as well. And as you can see, when we were leaving, it was also a little bit on the wet side as well. And then here's a photo. This is just, we always take, that token, here's us before the trip and here's us right after the trip. So that's what that photo is right there. So
it's always important to highlight the whole part of the adventure. Like say packing
bookends.
as much of an adventure as going on the adventure itself.
Exactly. Susan says, what does she say? I swerved at the last minute. Wow, that's cute shot. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and that's just one photo of the beautiful Crownland campsite on Little Long Lake. Swerving to miss a bull. Yeah, that's a scary situation. So I'm happy to know that you emerged okay. This is another photo. This is my leg, and you could probably count the black flies on it. And this is what I'm talking about with, you got to cover up your skin. Forget the bug spray. Just cover up your skin. As you can see here, all the black flies are desperately trying to bite through my pants. And luckily, my pants are protecting me. Number one, also, tuck your pants into your socks. There's no other way to do it in the springtime. You have to tuck your pants into your socks. Oh, the moose did. The moose swerved. Oh, okay, sorry, I misunderstood your text there. Wow, okay, well, that's good that the moose had a little bit of spatial awareness there. This is just another nighttime shot of the, on Little Long. And then, actually, this photo here, yeah, Richard, my photos are also not in order as well. This photo... This photo is actually the beginning of my Little Long canoe trip. And now it's the last one here, but that's okay.
Of course.
That's okay. I'm gonna get a better photo displaying program here. Microsoft Windows is the photo app just isn't quite cutting it here. But anyways, that's Little Long in the daytime from the put-in, where you put in your canoe. Okay, and Susan says he was so full of venom and could have died. Yeah. Susan says here, yes, a friend was not protected when we went to Hailstorm Creek, had 71 bites. That is not fun. Now, isn't this quite the coincidence? So I'm going to talk about 2 camping trips here today. The first one we just finished, that was Little Long. The second one is Hailstorm Creek. Now, there's no campsites in Hailstorm Creek, but we camped. This was just was this a one night? Yeah, this was a one night trip. Us being tourism operators here, we don't get a lot of time to camp in the actual canoe season. So we go in the shoulder season, we go in the spring, and then we go in the fall, basically after Thanksgiving and before May 2-4. That's kind of when we do our camping trips. So this is a one night trip from 2019, Hailstorm Creek. and we were at the campsite. We took a canoe, what do you call that? A water taxi. We took a water taxi to the closest campsite. It's actually a really nice campsite. There's a few that are pretty close to the beginning of Hailstorm Creek, and they're all actually pretty decent campsites. Am I the only person that thinks that Canada geese are kind of funny? They're kind of like clownish. Everything from their honks and their aggressive behavior, it's just, they make me laugh.
Well, say I've seen a Facebook post where it says the reason Canadians are so nice because we put all our negative energy in the Canada geese.
Oh my god, that's a good one. I like that. And okay, trivia question for you, Richard. On which Canadian banknote, on which bill, do you find the Canada Goose? Do you know? Can you take a guess?
Oh God. I want to say the 10.
Not the 10. Is that your one more try?
The 100.
Yes! Ding, 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 ding!
Yeah,
you are
100.
correct. The $100 bill. That's where you find the Canada Goose. You are correct. All right, and some more pictures here from Hailstorm Creek. This one is from the kind of the entrance of the marsh area here. Where's my Wendy? She is the specialist. I know, Susan. One of the last live streams when Wendy was here, Wendy had all of the information, all of it at her fingertips. It was remarkable. I loved it. It was, and I had all these questions, and Wendy was just so clutch with all of the right information. This photo, is this from... This is not in the marsh area. This is leading into the marsh area. Again, the order here is a little all over the place. This is actually Opeongo Lake. This is not Hailstorm Creek here. But of course, you gotta go through Opeongo Lake to get to Hailstorm Creek. A walking encyclopedia. I love walking encyclopedias. And Susan is congratulating you on that successful trivia answer there.
Do I get the 100 as a tip?
Yeah. For answering, yes, you get a $100 bill.
Well, I got the second shot, so it drops me down to a 50.
That's right. It was your second one. That's right. Your second attempt. This is another shot. This is Opeongo Lake. This is on the way to Hailstorm. This is also Opeongo Lake over here. Gorgeous campsites. Myself, I'm not an Opeongo Lake camper in the high season. I prefer more secluded lakes that are harder to get to. Although I'm the kind of camper that will go to Opeongo Lake again in the shoulder seasons before the crowds get there. Too funny, says Susan. Yeah, I know. Okay, some more Opeongo Lake shots. Where's my Hailstorm here? Okay, this is also Opeongo Lake here. I don't know if it's just me. When I come home from a camping trip, I have thousands of photos. I don't know if I take too many or not. What about you, Richard? Are you trigger happy like I am?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
I'll say I've sometimes gone for birding in the afternoon and come home with 3,000-4,000 pictures.
Amazing.
That's from an afternoon of birding.
An afternoon of birding, 3/4.
Of those shots, I'm probably gonna only work on maybe like 100-200 of them, sort of thing. Because, like, say, a lot of them are gonna be the same shots from different. Like, say, the bird's gonna turn its head just like this, then this, then this.
Exactly.
You gotta whittle it down. But to say, I can be trigger happy because I'd rather take a shot and catch it rather than miss it.
Exactly. And Susan says
it's photons and electrons. It's not like you're processing that much film. If I was shooting film,
different story.
Then, yeah, I'd probably be a little bit more hesitant on the trigger.
Yeah, totally agree. Susan says never stop shooting, and I completely agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we went to Hailstorm Creek in early May 2019, we saw one moose. I know that Algonquin Outfitters and Opeongo Outfitters, all of those outfitters there, they do the Moose Hailstorm Creek tour. And that's probably the best place to go there with pretty good chances. When we were there, we were the only people there. Again, I'm all about not seeing other humans. But anyways, we saw one moose, so that was really cool. You can't be greedy, and you can never go wildlife photography shooting and expect to see the big megafauna, right? You can't.
Absolutely. I said the number of times I've driven through the park looking for wildlife and come back with a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Let's say I've got more of those than I do have the public seeing shots sometimes, but
Exactly.
you gotta take the shots, and you can't be sad that you miss that you didn't see it, because, like I say, you still have a good time because you're in the park.
That's it.
Even
yeah.
a bad day at the park is better than a good day at work.
I love that philosophy right there. Yeah. Yeah, and that also ties in with the whole philosophy of HOWL, and that is, you know, we're not here to find the animals like we're hunters or something like that and then harass them, right? If you see them, great. If you don't, you know, take a look around and see what other interesting things you can photograph, right?
I may not get the wildlife, but like I say, I've probably got a nice sunrise or something potentially out of it. I've got a nice landscape out of it. Say, going from a macro lens, there's this interesting leaf that's sitting on this tree that I've got that shot of.
Exactly.
So there's tons of stuff you can do, not just besides the wildlife science sort of thing. So it's not a wasted trip by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, Susan says, so true, Richard. Susan also said here, same as us, but we did see a cow and a newborn calf. That is, it's been a long, I don't even know if I have a photo of a calf. I probably do, but anyways, it's been a long time since I've seen a calf.
Last year was my first.
Last year was your first, right on. Susan has a good phrase here. It's by chance, not by choice. I think that's great. Hey, Wendy's here. Wendy, you're here. Awesome. Okay, Wendy's always full of great information. Wendy says, bears don't exist in the park. Laugh out loud. My favorite week in the park has almost no wildlife. Oh, did you get skunked? Okay, this photo here. So there's as you're entering into Hailstorm Creek, there's this peninsula, and I suspect that it is a closed campsite because it looks, or you know what, it could be a peninsula where maybe the tour groups go to eat lunch, and it could have been a campsite maybe in the past. But the nice thing about this area, well, number one, it's a great place to chill out because there's really no land in the marsh. It's all marsh, right? But there's a bit of elevation too. So I went up in this peninsula area, so I was able to get a shot from a little bit more above, right? Because when you're in a canoe, your perspective is all on the same level, right? So it was really nice to be able to get a shot from a little bit higher up. Yeah, muskrat was the only wildlife besides common birds. Oh no, Wendy. Well, it's by chance, not by choice, right? Yeah, Susan, stop there. Okay, Susan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that peninsula in the marsh. It's a great spot. All right, can you tell me what bird this is when it pops up on your screen anyways?
Cucurbit.
You got it. It totally is. Yeah. And yeah, I love inanimate objects, just like little blades of grass in the water, that kind of stuff. I'm really drawn to, you know, geometric shapes, and I just love having fun with composition too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Great
Kested Cormorant. Okay, yeah, all of the viewers also got it correct. Yeah, Susan, tell me more about cormorants. So you're the simplicity, exactly. I love negative space, simplicity, that kind of stuff. High contrast, low contrast. It's just so I'm such a camera nerd. And simple is beautiful, says Wendy. I totally agree. Yes. Yeah, so yeah, Susan, why are you not fond of that bird species? Are they really aggressive? They tend to like take over islands. I take. I'm not as knowledgeable about that bird species. Again, these photos here, I'm just playing around with composition here. I just love that the grass grows where it grows. It's the simple things are the most amazing things sometimes. Okay, Susan says they're feeding habitats and they kill more than they eat. Really? They kill more than they eat? So they will kill things and not eat them? So they're kind of greedy then, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong, are there some islands on Opeongo Lake that are just overtaken by cormorants, and I guess their droppings just scatter all over the whole Rocky Islands?
I don't know if they're in Opeongo like that, but I know that like there's problems like that on like the Toronto Islands, and it's parts of Toronto like that, like these huge cormorant rookeries that are just full of cormorants, and like the droppings of just devastated everything else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Susan says here, their guano is, I love that word, guano, is so acidic and it kills everything on the trees and below. Okay. They're voracious. You saw that island, Susan? You know what I'm talking about, right? This photo is taken. This is we're not quite in Hailstorm Creek right here, but this is essentially, this is the mouth of Hailstorm Creek. This is kind of that entry pathway into the creek.
I love the composition of them, Bongo. Like say the V of the trees into the creek. I love that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, what I love about creeks and rivers is that if you get the right composition, it makes it feel like a tunnel almost.
Yeah.
And that's what I was really going for. The narrows, exactly. Yeah, and so cormorants in Algonquin Park, is that a climate change thing? Is that an invasive species thing? Brings back good memories, that photo, Susan? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a shift in their habitat due to climate change and stuff like that. Like last year was the first year I noticed the cormorants in Arrowhead as well.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's just one, but same.
Yeah.
It's going to change in the future.
I mean, climate change is real and it's happening, and we're only at the early stages of climate change at this point, right? So, I mean, ticks, that's, there's, I don't know how many ticks have been reported in the park, but somebody found a tick in Whitney last year. And I mean, we're in the park essentially, right? So that's another example of species that are taking advantage, right, of the changing climate and expanding their range, right? Yeah. Susan says they're native to Canada, but they seem to be moving inland. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this photo here, this is me again playing with compositions and shapes and that kind of stuff, and I'm this is a reflection in the water here. Okay, Susan has a question for you, Richard. Richard, did you see them on Arrowhead Lake, the cormorant? Yes. Okay. Yeah, he did. Yeah, reflections. I just love reflections too.
Yeah, they're always cool to catch. It can be such a mind trick too, sort of thing. Because I had some shots where, like, say someone's looking, like, is that upside down? No, it's a reflection. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some more reflection shots here. And one of my favorite things to do is I'll take it landscape and then I'll go portrait. And even the same subject, right? I don't know if you do that.
It's all about getting those different options to work with.
Yeah.
Say, if you don't do the portrait shot, you're never going to get that magazine cover.
Yeah. Whoa, Susan, is that actually... So Susan says no more loons when the cormorants move in. That would be devastating. If the cormorants kicked out the loons, I don't know. Uh-oh. The loons are so iconic in Algonquin Park. Okay, here we go. Yeah, negative space. I love negative space. I don't know birds well enough to know what kind of duck this is. If there's anybody out there that knows, Andrea would know. Probably.
Looks like a black duck to me.
Is that a black duck?
Looks like a black duck to me. Like I say, I'm 100%. Probably Wendy will be able to answer that question in a sec.
Yeah.
But let's say to me it looks like a black duck.
Yeah. The other thing that I love doing too is, okay, yeah, Wendy's here. The encyclopedia speaks. Black duck is the confirmation. Yes, awesome. And this photo, this is a crop as well. So this duck appears a lot smaller in the original photo. But I even just love cropping. I have a lot of fun coming home with my photos and just seeing how the subject changes based on how I make.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's so much fun.
It's just another way to simplify your picture.
Exactly. Yeah, and now when we were here in Hailstorm Creek, we were here before the black flies. So I started my slideshow with our black fly camping trip. These ones, there's this magic time in the spring before the bugs emerge. And that's exactly when we were here in Hailstorm Creek. All right, here we go. Hopefully loons don't leave Algonquin. And that's exactly when we were here. Lucky, yeah, I know, eh? I know. We were very lucky to be in Hailstorm Creek. There were no bugs. Now, it's a double-edged sword, though, because I feel like when the bugs emerge, yes, they're a bit of a hassle to deal with, but at the same time, I almost feel like there's more, the wildlife activity is amplified. So when we were here on Hailstorm, there was not quite as much bird activity. There was a lot of red-winged blackbirds, Canada geese. As you see, I had the black duck, cormorant was there, I had a loon, and maybe there were a few swamp sparrows, I think. But it wasn't full of life as it may be. On small, okay, Susan, okay, I see. So on smaller lakes, so if cormorants move into smaller lakes, then the loons will move out. Okay. I got you. I follow. Thank you for correcting me there. Yeah, loons, so beautiful. Just some more landscapes here. Swamp. Richard, do you ever take photos of dead trees that are flooded in water?
I have. It's the interesting shapes you can get out of them.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
And, sometimes I'll even like the dead trees and stuff like that. I'll turn to convert to black and whites.
Yes. Yes.
That can be really nice. I've got a nice shot. I don't know if it's a completely dead tree, but it's a tree with no leaves on it, so it might have been just early in the spring season. Kind of getting backlit at sunrise.
Cool.
With a nice fog in the background, sort of thing that I converted to black and white. It's a really nice shot.
And that's the other thing too. Remove all the color, and you can have so much interesting fun with that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wendy says insects are a huge food source, so without the bugs, there wouldn't be the variety of birds. Exactly, Wendy. Exactly. So this trip was great in that we didn't have the hassle of the black flies, but at the same time, we had a more limited biodiversity, right? So Susan says there could be territory disputes between the loons and the cormorants in smaller lakes. That makes absolute sense. Perfect. And then that we're looking at a spruce bog here, I think. If Wendy's out there to confirm, spruce bog, I believe that's all the spruce trees, I think. And I think spruce bog is its own category of ecosystem, if I'm not mistaken. All right, red-winged blackbird. Here we go. Richard had a red-winged blackbird, and I think I have about 2 or 3 red-winged blackbirds in my little collection here.
Nice.
Just an incredible sound that they make in the spring. And then it's wild how after spring's done, it's just they're not really chirping so much anymore, right?
Well, it's mating season in the spring.
That exactly, right?
Gotta get the woman.
That's right. They need to all hook up. Aha, so it looks like black spruce. Okay, and there were tamaracks in that photo as well. You're right. You know what's so funny? I only really realize how many tamaracks there are in late October when the golden encore is happening. Because then it's like, whoa, what are all these coniferous golden trees? Oh, right, the tamaracks. And so all of these Hailstorm Creek photos, I'm shooting with a 5D Mark III with my 70-200 with an extender on. Just for those of you that are into gear and are just curious. They will have multiple mates. Actually, Wendy, wow, red-winged blackbirds will have multiple mates. This is another, that's a red-winged blackbird. And again, I just love the whole negative space thing. After breeding, they use other voices. And this is why I love birds. Birds have 5 languages, says Susan. Very cool. Okay, yeah, so like I said, I had about a handful of red-winged blackbirds. That was definitely the dominant bird species in this particular trip here to Hailstorm Creek.
I love that one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Which one are you referring to?
It's the red-winged blackbird. Like it's on a, like looks like a stump with some brush around it, and the background is sort of blurred. That's like
Perfect.
that nice bokeh of the background. Like I said, I love that shot of the bird.
Ah, thank you. Yeah, it's just so majestic, right?
Yeah.
And this is the other reason why, Richard, you can come home with 3,000 bird photos, is because they're so fidgety, right? And then, but out of that series of 500 snaps, there's that one pose that is it, right?
That's it. That's
the
it.
Pose. Yeah.
And let's be fair. After, like I say, I'm shooting out of a shot of 20. Like I say, if I've got the bird and the bird flies off, 15 are just a stump.
That's right. That's right. So true. This is just a close-up of a beaver dam. Of course, if you've ever done canoe camping, you've probably canoed over a beaver dam, had to portage over a beaver dam. A few more landscapes here. This one here reminded me of, it almost looked like a person that had dove into the mud and their legs were sticking up.
That's nice.
Right.
This looks like a woman too. It looks like a high heel at the end of the one.
Yes, it does. It does look like a high heel. Try it with the kayak. Yeah, okay. That might make it easier to go over the beaver dams. And then sometimes I like to kind of like create a border with the, I don't know if you ever shoot landscapes like this, just playing around with where you're putting your horizon, whether you're putting it way at the top or way at the bottom. It's
so it depends on your sky, what's in your sky sort of thing as to how, like, we've got this really just a sky sort of thing. Sometimes you don't want that land to interfere with your shot.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. Here,
I've got one like that where it's like I think this week before the sun has risen, it's just coloring the sky with these bands of different colors on the clouds. So I want to get all those clouds. I didn't want much of the landscape in there at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's so, and this is why I love photography, is because by making these composition choices, you are really influencing the art, right?
Absolutely. And it's always fascinating even when you go out with a group of people, the different sort of shots you're going to get when you go out with a group of people in the exact same spot.
Yeah, that's what makes going out on photo excursions with other people so exciting. Yeah. Right? And then you can compare, and then you're like, how did you see that, right?
Yeah. And then you get jealous of that shot. I was there, but I didn't get that shot.
Yeah.
So it motivates you. It motivates you more the next time you go out, sort of thing.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Susan says yes. We all have different visions. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why gatherings of photography are so much fun. One of the really cool things about Hailstorm is that as is the signature of the area of Algonquin Park, it's very hilly. Like, we're in the highlands, right? So along the perimeter of the marsh, you can see the rolling hills. And this shot here, I just loved how you can see the levels of all of the different trees here, and you can also see how some of the leaves are beginning to bud, right? So you've got your conifers, and then you've got those deciduous ones where you have the leaves are early budding, and then you've got those late budding deciduous trees as well. So it's almost like a curtain. That's sort of what I was trying to go for here, like a curtain of trees.
Yeah, we'll say you get the same thing in the fall, where, like, say, some of the maple sugars and stuff like that start early, and then the other stuff goes in. You get the golden encore and the yellows at the end, sort of thing. You've got that different sort of variations in the forest in the fall too. So you got the same sort of thing with the greens and the browns in the spring as it starts up. Yeah.
Wendy says, my club puts on a challenge called What Do You See, based on that concept. That's a great club idea. That's so cool. Which photo club do you belong to, Wendy? The Many Layers, says Susan.
She's part of the Welland Club.
The Welland Club. Okay, awesome.
And I think I belong to the Huntsville and Muskoka clubs. I think each club's theirs. We've done that thing. We've given a location to go to, and everyone has to do a shot from that specific location to see that different perspective as well.
That's so fun. Okay, Welland camera. Gotcha. So here we go. Some more hail. I love grass. Take pictures of lots of grass. It's amazing that these things grow in water. And hilariously, should humans build in wetlands? I mean, building in wetlands is just a big no-no. I know that that's what people used to do back in the day before we knew a little bit more about biodiversity and those kinds of things. But it's just amazing that nature can survive just fine in the wetland, but any kind of human structures will just sink, right? It looks like a porcupine. Yeah, it does look like a porcupine. Yeah, you're right. It totally does. And that is the beauty of taking, pictures of inanimate objects it's like looking at clouds, right? And just using your imagination, right? This photo, is this taken from, okay, this is us leaving the marsh. And actually, when you're looking at this photo, that area on the left with the pines there, that is the peninsula. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the peninsula that may have been a campsite back in the day, but now it's kind of the natural place to have lunch and just to stretch your legs on land.
The community center.
The community center. Yeah, the community center of wildlife photographers in Hailstorm Creek. Yeah. Susan says, I saw the biggest beaver lodge I've ever seen in Hailstorm. That's the one. Okay, that's the picnic site. Yeah, that's it. So this is us on our way out of Hailstorm. And you know what? By the way, this visit here in May 2019, this was the first and only time I had ever been to Hailstorm Creek.
I've not been yet.
And you haven't been yet? Okay, great. So that makes me feel a bit better. I'm not sure if there's people out there that have been to Hailstorm Creek several times. But this was my once. I would love to go back. And you know what? I would love to go back when the black flies are thick. Because like Wendy was saying earlier, it's those insects that are really going to give you a lot more bird activity and animal activity. Okay, again, I just see humor when I look at Canada geese. Their necks are just so silly. This I thought was kind of funny. It's like it's almost like the scuba diver poking their head out of the water, like, oh, who's there? Yeah. Okay, Susan says we saw the cow and calf right across from there, right across from the picnic area. Is that right? To the left side. That's so cool. And Susan, when you went to Hailstorm, was it with a group or did you do it, was it a tour? Was it a camera club or was it just independent? Peekaboo, yeah, this is such a peekaboo shot, right?
I can answer that question for Susan. I wasn't part of the group, but there was just a group of people that Wes Lacane had arranged to do a water taxi that day to get everyone out there.
Yeah.
I think there was probably like a group of 5 or 6 of them that went out to the end and did some kayaking and canoeing and photographing there, and then had the water taxi bring them back.
Ah, okay. Look at that. It's and that's how tight the community is. Yeah. Okay. Susan says yes. A total of 9 of us with Wesley. Nice. I haven't seen Wesley in 2 years.
I haven't seen Wes too much either myself. He's been kind of I think probably working on his property up north.
Yeah. No, I remember when he bought that property. Oh, I mean he's got a lot of work ahead of him, right? So I'm sure he's keeping busy, which is great. 1 canoe and all kayaks. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Love playing with depth of field as well. This is just, me taking photos through the grass. Or those are cattails? Is that what you call them?
Cattails, yeah.
Cattails, yeah. He was, okay, no way. Wes was in the park last Friday. Oh, all right. Just a few more from Hailstorm here. I'm approaching the end. I think that is, and that's a Texas photo. So, and that's it. That's my Hailstorm photo session there. So yeah, 1 from Black Fly season, and this was in early May from 2019. So, okay. So Wes was in the park for a nighttime shoot last Friday. Hey, it hasn't rained or been cloudy for a long time. Has anybody else been doing star photography recently?
So I was out there about 2 weeks ago, sort of thing, doing the Milky Way and got the Northern Lights at that point there. But that's been kind of the first night sky stuff I've done in a little while. Yeah. It's. I mean, you know what? I hope at this point we kind of need some rain.
because
Huntsville's under an extreme fire. Like, we're not allowed fires right now in Huntsville.
You're not allowed fire. Okay, that's what I mean. I mean that could happen to us too. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if we don't get any significant rain. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that we do get some precipitation. I know we were just talking about climate change a little bit earlier, and hey, that's another symptom right there. You've got the cormorants and the ticks and, you know, all of the wildlife changing their ranges, and then you've got droughts, right? Or you have extreme rain, right? Like,
yeah.
Just the extremes, right, on either side. So
yeah, we need to find the balance again.
The equilibrium, right? Humans have this nasty habit of kind of turning the roulette wheel and turning the equilibrium on its head, right? So the balance, right? Balance is the key.
That's right.
Nature does a really good way of finding balance, and we seem to interrupt that. So yeah. Susan says going for the new moon time at the end of the month. Yes, yeah. Everybody mark that down on your calendars. Let's hope that we get a lot of good star photos then. And more stupid ticks on moose. It's too warm. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And hope, I mean, anyways, the world is going through some negative changes for sure. So yeah, anyways, the solution is if only we could stop burning all this oil, right? But yeah. All right. Awesome. Yeah, so that was our spring session here. Really fun having you all here. Susan and Wendy, thanks for all of your comments and cheering us on and all of your questions and also really good trivia facts as well. Richard, thank you for your presentation and all the amazing stories behind your photos.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad to have participated.
Awesome. Yeah, amazing. So we'll be doing this again. We'll let everybody know in the community when our next photo stream is going to be. And if there's anybody out there that wants to participate, let us know as well. Just reach out to us on Facebook or by email. We were featured in F-Stoppers. HOWL Wildlife Photography was featured in F-Stoppers. I'm gonna post a link to the article tomorrow on our social media channels. So yeah, we had a feature on F-Stoppers 2 years ago, and then we just had a new one just written now by the writer Mark Dunsmuir. And so yeah, I'll post that tomorrow for everybody to see. So no, it's really cool that we're getting a little bit of exposure out there on the internet.
Nice.
Wendy says, I love these. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Well, and you know what? We love the participation as well. So thanks for joining us here. I'm in. I'll show my bugs. Do you have some bugs, Wendy? We haven't done a bug one yet. That would be kind of neat.
Wendy's got some nice bug stuff.
Yeah? What about you, Richard? Do you have bug stuff?
Not as much. Like I said, not as much. I've got some, but more butterflies, nice grasshopper shot.
Butterflies are bugs, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. So I've got to say a lot. I got a big whack of them from a butterfly conservatory, so they're not actually wildlife butterflies, but a few here and there.
Yeah.
I find them very challenging to photograph because they move so damn quick.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Wendy is trying to teach Susan how to take better bug photos. That's really cool. They would be hard to do. I mean, a lot of bugs don't necessarily stay still for very long, and it's very hard to take macro photos of things that don't stand still.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's always the challenge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So maybe we'll have Susan and Wendy for the next one. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll reach out to you, to all of you out there. Wendy is the bug whisperer. They love Wendy. All right. Awesome. She's my daughter, so we have fun together. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right. Well, everybody, we're going to wrap up our stream here today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to aim to be back on next week. I will make the announcement probably on, what day is it today? Wednesday? Probably on Friday, I'll announce when our stream is going to be next week. We're probably going to aim for Wednesday. Seeing as how Steve is getting a little bit more busy now, we may end up starting a little bit later just so that he's able to join, because today he had to serve up until about 8 p.m. or so. So he's probably still closing his kitchen here at the Mad Musher. But anyways, all right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Wendy, for hanging out with us. And of of course, thank you, Richard, as well.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll do it again, I'm sure. All right. Peace out, everybody.